Hey, welcome back to Lesson 2 of Original Oratory. Let's get started. So yesterday you wrote a story with Linda Berry. I think she had you write for about 7 minutes, which means that you may not have completed that story. What I'd like you to do now is get that story back out, open it up, and read through it. Make sure that it's finished. If it's not finished, go ahead and finish the story. Take 7 minutes of class to do this, so you'll have written for a total of 14 minutes by the end of this process. So the first 7 minutes of class here, spend some time finishing your story. If you did finish your story yesterday, then that's great. Just hold on for a second, and then we'll move on to part 2. Okay, now that you have a complete story, we're going to move on to step 2. Open your Chromebooks, which are probably already open because you're watching this video. But if you're watching this on your phone or something, then open your Chromebooks and create a Google Doc. Label it your full name. So in my case, it would be Jason Paris, but in your case, it would be not Jason Paris. Use your full name, then 001, and then the year. This year that I am recording this is 2022, but it's Christmas break. So by the time you see this, it will be 2023. And in 5 years, if I'm still using this video, it will be 2023 plus 5. So that's 2028. I just did that in my head. That way it's easy for me to find. You'll share them with me and then I will have them. Once you've done that, type your story into the Google Doc. Fix the grammar as you go. Google will help you do that. Step 3, find somebody and trade stories. I know this is scary, so if you want to start with somebody who you're friends with, then that's great, but we're all friends, so it doesn't really matter. But trade your stories, let somebody else read yours. So now you're reading somebody else's story. Read it all the way through, then read it all the way through again. These are short, it won't take you very long, and then your job is to come up with the moral of the story, or the lesson of the story. So you will literally type into their Google Doc at the end of their story, so the moral is ... whatever it is you think it is, right? You have to come up with that. You're helping them out. Here's an example. When I was a kid, I shared a room with my brother. We each had bunk beds, but sometimes our parents rearranged our room so they were just 2 single beds on each side of the room. When they were in this formation, we liked to jump from one bed to the other, and that was a lot of fun. Until this one time when we hadn't cleaned up the room. See, we were also in Cub Scouts, and that meant that every year we made Pinewood Derby cars. The thing about them is that the wheels spun around a nail that you were supposed to hammer into the car. But on this day, there happened to be a Pinewood Derby tire sitting on the floor between our beds, and the nail was sticking straight up. So on this day, my brother misjudged the distance between our beds, and when he landed, the nail went right into his foot. So, the moral of the story is, and then you have some options. So if you were reading that story, what's the moral of the story? Number 1, it might be don't jump on beds. Number 2, the moral of the story might be don't jump back and forth between beds. Number 3, the moral of the story might be clean up your room. Don't make this harder than it is. Maybe it's like the moral of the story is don't share a room with your brother. Or the moral of the story is don't do Pinewood Derby. Like anything, it can be simple, but we need a lesson to take from the story. And your job is to figure out what that is for your partner. Step 5, here's the hard part. So now you've come up with a moral of the story for your partner's story, right? I need you to video yourself reading it. That's all, just like I just did right now. Use your phone to create a file, a video file that you will then share with me and with your partner, all right? So by the end of this hour, you will have provided a moral or lesson for your partner's story, and then you will have videoed yourself reading your partner's story with the moral at the end. Again, this is a completion grade, but it's all or nothing. Remember, if it's good, you get the points. If you don't do a good job, you don't get any of the points. So get all the points. Do a good job. This is more important on this one because it's not just about you. It's about how you're helping your partner. All right? 1, 2, 3, go.